All right, welcome back. I'm gonna get straight into the point of this video, which is I need help, ideas, and suggestions. If you're not aware, there's this little thing going on at the end of September called No Name Nationals. The problem is that this project was never ever being designed, thought up, built for that kind of an event. If you're new to the channel, I'm gonna go over the entire car, but what I'm needing and asking of you are realistic or maybe even unrealistic ideas, thoughts, and suggestions. Help me. All right, so we're gonna start on the front. This is just a LA 318. Pulled the engine out of the car, rebuilt it. It's been bored 20 over. It's got an aluminum intake, spacers. I got a 600 and a 650 carb. Basically what you see here is what you got. Nice big air cleaner hole through the hood. Hemi style hood scoop. Love it. Engine runs great. Solid. Absolutely dead solid. We put long tube headers on it. Had to put an aluminum radiator on it because I didn't have a radiator. Couple electric fans. I mean, basically this is the setup as far as the engine goes, okay? Now, I had to buy literally everything for this engine. New push rods and lifters and rocker arms and oil pumps and bearing. I mean, you name it. Water pump, alternator, fuel pump, anything and everything. Now, the one issue that I didn't address, that I didn't know was an issue when I had the engine out, was I didn't replace the steering gearbox. I had my fingers crossed it was gonna be good. The other is the brake booster. I thought maybe we'd get lucky and it would be good. That one's not that big of a deal. I already pulled it off and it's sitting over there. Getting to that means I'm gonna have to yank this out for one of those reasons. The damn rear main is leaking. It's leaking. That's all there is to it. So I figure, you know what? These are super easy, but not even an hour's worth of work to get everything out of the way. Yank it up, you know, done. Suspension, I put new shocks in the front. We got new wheels and tires all the way around. I did all new brakes. I mean, everything. Literally everything that has to do with the front end of this car has been redone, has been bought, installed, fixed, you name it. Okay? Literally everything. Inside, this is not what the carpet's gonna look like. This is temporary that I put down to protect. So we had to cut out a bunch of metal, put in some floor pans. I tried to save, not tried, but I did save a bunch of money. I made my own instrument panel. Over here, we got just a cheap radio, CD player, a couple more gauges, my switches. One controls my fan, the other turns all my lights on up here. It's just the way I wanted to do it because it was quick and easy and cheap. Cheap speakers, made some, I had to pop this off, but made these homemade door cards on that side too. That one's back there for the time being. Those are the stock seats. Took them out, cleaned them up. All I did was hit them with some vinyl paint because this is supposed to be, you know, a bit of a budget car. Don't worry about my door jambs and rockers. Those are gonna get sanded down and primed like, you know, you're seeing. But let's talk about the body. So I added the go wing, added the Hemi hood scoop. I had to cut out and weld in a bunch of metal over here. I know this might look like a lot of body filler, but you know, if you look at from the side, I mean, it's only 1.5 mil. So this is not like a Bondo baby by any means. We have been taking our time, cut out metal over there, welded in some metal there. Same over here. This lick down here, this crease is the only thing I'm gonna just fill with some filler. And even still, you're looking at maybe 3 to 4 millimeters. Nothing crazy. Now, rear end. The rear end, let me back up. I also I bought some coilover shocks. And the reason why you're seeing the bottom of the fuel cell is because all the trunk floor was rotted. So I cut it all out and I still got to make that. Here's the biggest issue. Not the fact that it's leaking. That's not the big of a deal. I can just put some more silicone. That's a 7 1/4. It's a 7 1/4 rear end, okay? Has 276 gears, neither of which are good for anything. One thing that they are good for is if you want to hit the interstate at 75, 80 miles an hour and just cruise. If you're just babying the car, you're fine. If you just drive the car normally, don't do anything crazy, you're fine. I won't experience any whining, any loud noises, like if I had a 373 or a 410 or anything crazy like that. But for cruising, it's fine. Now, again, I bought all new wheels and tires. I bought the wheels from Just Mopar Joe, picked them up, cleaned them up, painted them, put all new tires on the car. I mean, I didn't put massive, huge tires, just something that I could cruise around in, have a little bit of fun in. So here's issue number one, is the sheer amount of work left to get done. That really doesn't bother me too much. I probably only have another 3 or 4 10-hour days of getting this body work ready. I mean, it's most of the way there. Like, it truly, truly is. Might not seem like it, but it's very close, okay? Here's the issue. I only have a back glass because I broke my windshield. So I got to buy a windshield. I got to buy a windshield gasket and a lock strip. I got to buy a back glass windshield, back glass strip and gasket. I have to buy carpet. I got to buy a big sheet of metal to fab something up in there. I have to buy a new steering gearbox, brake booster, and master cylinder. I had bought a new master cylinder, but it was even brand new out the box. It leaked. Junk. So with all that being said, with everything that I need to buy between the paint, the carpet, the windshield, just all of that stuff, the metal, yada, 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 just that alone, we're talking like $2,000. Then I got to buy a compressor big enough to let me paint the car. So we're talking another $500-600. And that still leaves me with a bad rear end, a weak rear end, I should say. Okay. If I go get Joe's rear end, it's a little bit beefier, but his has a 273 gear. Mine has a 276. So his is actually still a little bit longer. So herein lies the question. If you're watching still, now you have a full update on the car. Okay. Front to back. We've done everything. We've replaced everything, fixed everything, bought everything. It's costed me way more money than I want to talk about. Besides the point, what would you do? What would you do? Do we try to source a junkyard rear end, like a Explorer rear end or something like that? Just something that we can slam in there that has bigger axles and better gears? Because don't forget, I want to drive this car there. I'm not going to trailer this. I want to drive the car there, have some fun, drive it back. If that means having fun is just driving it there and hanging out, that would kind of suck. I would like to have some fun. Also, don't pay too much attention to this body line. I have to adjust that off track, besides the point. Tomato tamale. What would you do? Tell me, drop it down. Give me ideas, suggestions, yell at me if you want. Tell me all the things you would have done differently. But what would you do between now and then, knowing everything that we have left to buy, fix, install, finish, so on and so forth? So help me out. Drop me something in the comment section. I'm going to think about everything. I'll reply to everything. And let's see if maybe collectively together we can come up with what we should do to get this car ready for No Name Nationals the end of September. Until next weekend, aka this weekend, since I'm doing a mid-week video, which is something I don't really ever do. Until this weekend, I'll see you then.